Welcome to Impact Innovators with Felicia Ford, where we dive into the strategies that empower changemaker brands to leave a lasting legacy. Think of this podcast as your audio playbook for meaningful action. What's possible when thought leaders, disruptors, and pioneers align to share their journeys? I'm Felicia Ford, your host, bringing together the brightest minds and the most groundbreaking ideas to help you drive change, navigate through the sticky stuff, and elevate your brand. Whether you're tackling funding hurdles, looking for growth strategies, or seeking the perfect balance between profit and purpose, we've got you covered. Stay tuned and be a part of a movement that's setting new benchmarks in how we think about progress, community, and doing. Let's innovate, impact, and inspire. Okay, friends, we're back with part 2. I want to shift gears for a second, Michelle. You've always been visible. You've always shown up authentically and energetically, right? The whole I'm the extrovert, right? And there's another guest that folks will hear from on episode 2, Brittany Rush, who also leads with, she's also an extrovert, but changemakers will be able to listen to that episode on building a community-centric brand.
Ooh.
But I want to know from you, what can you share that drives you, or what's your approach to this powerhouse of a visibility strategy that you have with your personal branding? I see your face.
I'm thinking, I'm like, ooh, what's my thought? I don't really have
Your personal branding is it's who you are. It's authentic. I mean, obviously you're a successful real estate broker, and you've navigated so much. So what can you share with listeners about
showing up. Your personal brand.
showing up?
I think, you know what I learned early on from probably when I was born, I guess. Apparently, because sometimes I look back and I'm like, well, how did I get this, and that? But I was just born with it. Right.
Right.
And
right.
I think about, and I'm thankful. I mean, it's not a boast or it's not anything. I could just go back and say, wow, God, like from the day that you formed me in my mother's womb, like you knew what you was going to do with me. Right. I didn't know, but you knew. Right. You didn't fill me in until latter part of 2000 something. So, but the thing about it is, I can always say, you say showing up, I always show up as me, regardless of where I am. Like I was talking to a friend of mine, I had a brunch the other day for women. And one of my friends came that know me before Christ, BC. And so he was like, well, one thing about her, like I used to be a fighter too. So, but I mean like a real fighter. So you ain't gonna mess with me. Still don't, but you know, our gangs changed. But look, so here's the deal. And I always roll by myself pretty much. So here's the deal. It was like, she said, Michelle, you didn't really want to mess with her, but she always had the same personality. Mm-hmm. Like I don't see, I show up as me and I draw attention. I draw people, but I don't do it I'm not intentional about it. If I have to say that, like I'm intentional as showing up as me, but I'm not intentional about showing up as a brand.
Right.
I'm not intentional about, I'm just intentional about Jesus and showing up as me. And he just creates the way. And honestly, like when we were just talking the other day and she was explaining to a friend of mine, which she referred to a friend, she bought a house with me. And she was like telling me what she was telling her about me. And it's true. Like I've always been me. Like either you like it or you leave it. You like it or you don't. Because it's not going to take who I am now. I do believe in changing and growing. There's certain things, okay, that was a little rough. I need you to get that out of there. But I think most importantly, I've always shown up as me and I've been consistent. So whenever people reach out to me, they always say, Michelle, one thing I know about you is that you're consistent. And so because I'm constantly showing up. If I'm your friend, I'm going to constantly show up. Hey, Felicia, how you doing? Hey, come to this event. Hey, it's going to be something. I'm going to show up consistently. Like, regardless, on Facebook, social media. I've been doing it since Facebook was released what, 2007?
Yeah.
I got up. Yeah. I started posting back then. So when it got big, I was already fluent at it.
Right.
You know, people would say, oh, and don't listen to people either. Because people would say, you always on Facebook. Oh, you full of yourself. Yep. I'd rather be all of that, okay, But guess what? Do you know how much money I made from Facebook? Do you know how much money I've made from social media? I've built communities. I've done different things. Like I work out too. I build fitness communities. I've done step challenges out of the abundance of my life. Me showing up authentically as me. So that's why my Instagram name is MJB in the community, because you can't stick me. I'm not stuck to just real estate. I was thinking about that. I had this conversation before and I was just thinking about that last night. A realtor is not my identity. I can stop selling real estate today and I'm still going to be me, MJB. Like it's not going to, nothing, wherever I go, I bring who I am where I go. What I do, go girl.
No, please continue because you're on a...
I'm on a roll. Because I want people to see this about themselves. And I always say that growing up, I wasn't always told the best things about myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't grow up in a verbally, how can I say it? It wasn't an environment where I was affirmed. Right? And that's why I said, God, you cover me. You protected me. You loved me. Like boy, listen, I could just, even when I think about that, I'm like, wow, because I became everything opposite of what I was told. I am everything opposite. I am everything opposite of that. And so I can say, one, bless the Lord, all my soul. That's why I'm like, I'm going to show up. I'm going to talk about Jesus. I'm going to do this. I don't care where you put me. When people come to me and they say, Michelle, what made you get into real estate? I ask them, when they ask me, you really want to know? Yeah, God told me. God told me to come here. That's my testimony. And it will be to the day that Jesus Christ come home. God told me to do this and he brought me here and he blessed me. He prospered me. He changed my life. He allowed me to meet people that I probably would have never met, and put me in places. I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And I just show up. Is this going to be my final place? We cannot have identities in the things that we do, because they are vehicles. That's like me. There was one season I was driving one vehicle. Now we change seasons, right? New vehicle. There's enough. No matter how much you love that vehicle or the memory to, I had someone buy me a car outright. God told them to buy me a car. Took me to the car lot. I'm going to pay for it. Put it in her name.
Wow.
I've had that happen. And so it's like, and I had to turn around, and I turned around and I gave that car to somebody else. And so the thing about it is, no matter what memory that I had attached to that vehicle, I had to release it. And so when we do things out here in business and just certain things, and I'm saying this because some people get discouraged because businesses have to close or shift. It's just a vehicle. They're just vehicles.
We're going to take a moment to pause because you dropped a lot of nuggets, but that last one, now that's change making. I warned you all that change maker is this lady's middle name. Okay. Change. Listen, I'm stumbling over my word because I can't even get it out. But it's a season. It's just the vehicle.
It's just a vehicle. And we can't be married to it. Like, it's like, you have to be, the thing about even being, I think, entrepreneurs, where an entrepreneur in a root is a creative, because we create solutions to problems. We create businesses. We create, that's a problem. Like a friend of mine is at an event today and she's like, this class is terrible. This, that, and the third. This is not matching. This is not there. I said, so you see a problem you could fix. There's room being made for you. You see a problem that you can fix.
I'm hearing so many things. One, balancing profit and purpose, alignment. We need wisdom, number one. We need assuredness in who we are. We need identity, number two. Number three, we need to be aware that money is a tool, right? Number four, in the awareness that money is a tool, we also need to be able to invest it in the right spaces and places and charging what should be charged. And, anyone who wasn't born into wealth, these are things that anyone not born into wealth needs, right? And a lot of my listeners are first generation college students who are older millennials or older generation Z, so, 27 and up, right? But then knowing what to do with that money, knowing how to invest that money. And then you just described what I would describe as agility, right? And not being married to one thing, but being agile enough and free with that mindset to say, this is just a vehicle. Because that was the last nugget you dropped. I don't even know what number I'm on. From
I was writing now. Hold on, I'm taking notes. Don't think the sis over here dropping jewels. She's taking notes. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so wisdom 1, identity 2, awareness. Money is a tool. 4, invest in the right places and spaces. Charge what you should charge. I think that's 5, and then 6 is agility. I got you, girl.
But these are your jewels. I'm just summarizing because I am taking all of this in, and just thinking about how helpful this is going to be for the change maker who's driving to their office this morning or on their way home this afternoon, whenever they're listening to this, and just considering where they are in making decisions in their business. Some people get stuck, right? Yeah. They're stuck with, and I don't like that language. You will never hear me say I'm stuck unless I'm literally driving my car and my tires are like in mud.
Yeah, we bind the devil. We're not stuck, okay?
We're never stuck. You said also, Michelle, to pause. Sometimes these moments, these dry seasons or the slower seasons are seasons to gain more wisdom.
Sharpen that axe.
Right?
Yes.
It's not a time to say, well, people are, I saw a Facebook post last night in one of my communities, and a lady described that a TV producer reached out to her and wanted to feature her business on their show. She said that once she then solidified some things, they asked her to pay an absorbent amount of money to be on the show. I mean, close to $100,000, right? Right. That was my expression as well. And she was really bummed out about it. Now, I understand her needing to vent about it, but I can't remember the exact statement she made, but it was something like, this was a big hit for me. And I responded and I was like, why is it a big hit? And then when she responded and I said again, well, I understand and I apologize for not first honoring you needing to vent, but I also want you to consider this wasn't a hit to you. This was them showing their hand. This was them showing their cards. Like, first of all, in media and PR, earned media is way better than paid media. But number 2, your mindset can't then be, well, only certain people get to these spaces. Only if you have X, Y, and Z can you also be in these spaces. And that's not alignment. That's misalignment. It's misalignment if you have to step outside of who you are, if you have to step outside of your own personal values or your company values, or if you have to, maybe you have team members who don't live your company culture. And it's causing problems.
And it will.
That's misalignment, right? And so I think maybe there's some conflict avoidance that exists with people when there's a guy who responded to that Instagram post, yesterday. And I said, hey, he said he's a school teacher. And he was like, we're all getting burnt out and we don't know what to do. And I said, hey, have you considered taking some skill assessments? Have you considered, even Myers-Briggs or Virginia Education Wizard, and then exploring what your passions are, and then the intersection of all of that is your actual purpose, and then seeing what could be on the other side. And you know what he said, Michelle?
What?
I'm just going to stick to teaching.
Well, you're going to be burnt out. Now you're going to be beating the kids. That's not funny. But you will. You all snap at some point.
Either you're going to snap or your body's going to snap, and it's going to make you stop, right? So what might we say to people who find themselves in this space of being misaligned, right? They're choosing profit over purpose.
I got it. Well, I love Jim Rohn.
Yeah.
I do. I love Jim Rohn. Say what you like, say what you will. And he said, if you don't like where you are, move. You are not a tree. You are not a tree. If you don't, and I think this is the thing, like people, one thing about me, I remember one day this lady gave me, she gave me a word and I said, okay. She said, you're impulsive, but God uses that. And I'm just not necessarily, I can't be impulsive, but here's the deal. I'm not afraid of change but I lived in so many places of being uncomfortable And even if I didn't want it to change, it changed anyway. I just had to adapt. Like I was in it, I still am in the insurance world. So I probably could do that quote actually. Now I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute, I done sent it out. Anyway, so in the insurance world, one thing I noticed is in insurance, every day something will change. There's something, we're going to do a different policy, a different procedure. Something is shifting and changing in insurance, whether it's raised, whether it's this. Something is changing. So I believe that was God's foreshadowing way of letting me know, listen, you're not going to stay comfortable. We can't live comfortable. If you're living comfortable, the next step is a coffin. Like you want to be comfortable? Straight. You want to lay there? Good. All right, fine, no problem. And so when you stay comfortable, I'm not saying that we need to live on this wheel of, I got to get it, because that's not it either. Because, there's a rest that we live in and that we work out of, right? And so I'm just saying, if you're at a place and it's not bringing you peace, then you have to move. Like you have to choose to not just live, but you have to choose to thrive. And I remember one time when I worked at this one insurance company, I'm not going to name their names. They just laid off a lot of people too, by the way. Anyway, so I'm not going to name them though. Some of them is everybody prominent insurance company, but I'm not going to name them. But anyway, and so this guy one day, he said to me years ago, he said, sometimes you got to take one step backwards to take two steps forward. And so, yeah, if you have to, that's like after I left that company, maybe not unwillingly, that I was telling you about. And I took this other position. I was just sharing this with this other girl. And it was a first generation, like this insurance company had just moved to Virginia. And I took the job. Do you understand? I took that position. I made $3 less an hour. Oh, $4 less an hour. Let me just go on and get it right. $4 less an hour. They were bringing people in the company I was training. I opened the first office in the state of Virginia. I trained most everyone that came through there, if not helped them. Opened up other offices. I probably was the least paid person there. They didn't want to promote me. Like all time, I'm just telling a story. But this place, it allowed me to open up, see what a business looked like from scratch. Like I remember sitting in this office space with this other lady, and it was cold. The place didn't even have heat. I don't even know why we were sitting in there. Like, but we were getting paid, so we just sitting there and doing nothing. But then one day the trucks came up and the furniture came and we set up the office and just, everything. I built that business. Like people will call that office. May I speak to Michelle? She's not here. Can I help you with something? No. And they would hang up. They would say, Michelle, what are you doing to the people? I just love them. I'm just treating them like people. I just talk to them. Like I'm not doing anything. I'm just real. I'm being me. I'm showing up as me. And so a lot of times when you show up as you, I want to say this too, everybody might not like you and they may not understand you. But I always tell people one thing about me, you'll never have to. I had this one lady told me, I don't know I don't understand you. I don't know she said, I don't know how to handle you because I'm truthful. See, that's the deal. You too fake, so you don't know how to handle me because I'm too truthful and I see it. And then at that time, I'll call it now, but I was a lot more sharper. So I ain't care. You know what I'm saying? Holy Ghost, it existed in me then, okay? Right. So, I was a whole problem when I was young. So anyway, but no, they didn't know how to take me. You didn't know how to take me because I'm true. Right? So anyway, long story short is they would not promote me. Do you know? So I started that job in oh shoot. Felicia, where did we go? Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Ooh, I thought a phone call came and pushed the phone. So what happened is, I don't know how to make this bigger. So what happened basically is I got that job in 2005. January 2005, I opened offices. I trained the district manager. Right? The person came in that they promoted as a district. They promoted people over me that I trained. And so anyway, I'm going somewhere with this story. I'm just trying to not click the wrong button because I can't see you. So anyway, what ended up happening is I ended up opening my own insurance agency.
Amazing.
Less than a year. So January 2005, and I was under 30. So I was like 27 years old. So January 2005 is when I started there. July the 12th, 2006 is when I opened my own insurance franchise. And so I I stepped back. Even with the job, I took this job that underpaid me and overworked me. But I still kept a different mentality. I was like, okay, God, like it was just, and I didn't know it was God. I was like, I'm just going to let bygones be bygones. I'm not going to fight. Like, I could have sued my old employer. I filed a complaint with the EOC. They gave me the right to sue. I decided to let the dead dogs lie.
Right? Yeah.
And so I decided to move forward. And at a young age, God allowed me to hit places. Like, I was told I was a young mother. I'm telling, like, I want to just keep saying these things because I had my first child at 18. You ruined your life. You this. But listen, my life is better than those who told me that I was ruining it to this day.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you can't listen to what people are saying. You can't, even if you got to step back, sometimes things look humiliating or it looks like you taking a step backwards. But when you shoot forward, you won't believe. You wouldn't even begin to understand how you got there, but you did. And so it's okay to shift. It's okay to take a pay cut for a moment, only for a moment. Because if you're in a pruning season, that's what I see. I'm looking at these trees. When something is pruned, it must bloom.
Ooh, that's a good word.
Yeah. And so sometimes those seasons that seem like shortages can seem like dead, because when these trees are pruned back, they look dead. But when that bloom comes forth, it comes forth bigger and better than before. And so it's like, what are you doing in that season? So just because you have to be cut back or cut back a little, when that blooming season come forth, it's a whole different ball game. And you'll witness a level of victory like never before.
I love that. And I love that you can reflect back on these seasons of being misaligned, but also see how it contributed to your alignment in the long run, right? Michelle, I see that you are hosting Blankets and Beach Bible Study on June 17th here in Hampton Roads in Virginia Beach. Will it be?
Yes.
Again this year?
Virginia,
okay.
Yes, Virginia Beach, oceanfront, 35th Street, on the beach though, on the actual oceanfront, on the beach.
Okay. And if people are interested in joining you for Blankets and Beach Bible Study, how can they connect with you?
That's a great question. So normally I'll just say email me, because I need to establish the link. I haven't established it yet to roll it out, which I normally do maybe about May, but I do need to have an early sign up. Thanks, growth strategist.
No worries. So what about, but you have your Facebook group, right?
Yeah, they can follow me on Facebook. I have the Women of Wisdom with Word group. I have the Boss Woman 757 group. They can follow me on Facebook, inbox me, email me. I mean, there's ways to get in touch with me. Follow me on social media for more details, or just email me, Michelle. Let's see which email address I want to give.
Well, we'll have your email, your contact information in the show notes. But just if those, people are riding and listening, would love to let them know how they can connect with you. And then on TikTok, what's your handle there?
Just MJB.
Just MJB.
JUST MJB.
Awesome. Michelle, this has been an incredible conversation around balancing purpose and profit, around alignment. You dropped so many nuggets that I knew this was going to be great. I knew this was going to be exciting, and this is probably going to be a little bit longer of an episode than usual, but I was even taking notes. I don't usually flip pages, so I'm going to have to figure out how to edit that out, or just leave it, because I'm encouraging people to take notes as they go along. But before we hop off, Michelle, is there anything else that you would like to say to a change maker, a business owner, a nonprofit leader, or an aspiring change maker thinking about alignment and profit? What might you give as words of wisdom to them?
A word of wisdom of what I would say, most importantly through all of this, is don't lose you, right? Because you're the glue. Like, don't lose you. Make time for you and make room for you. Create your space. I remember when I first got in real estate, one of my brokers, he sat down with me and he was like, okay, this is an appointment here. You put this appointment there. You do this, you do this. And even if you have an appointment with yourself. Put everything on a calendar for you. Everything. And then he said, be proactive, not reactive. But anyway, so here's the deal. It was like, if you have to schedule in an appointment for yourself, if you schedule you in, I think that's where a lot of people get it. Oh, I'm not sleeping at night. No, we're not doing that either. There's seasons for certain things, but take care of you, because if you don't take care of you, how will you show up? Get the sleep that you need. Get the self-care. Get the therapy. If you don't believe that, I remember I was going into these groups and the lady was going through all these trauma things. And I'm like, why am I sitting through this? Like, I don't need any of this. Like, I need to just get to the meat and potatoes. Let's go. And I'm like, so people are in these groups that don't believe that they should be wealthy, or that they deserve to have a business, or that they should have a business. Get the therapy that you need. Like, walk through your fears and your traumas, deal with those things, look at yourself. Because if we don't get to the root of what's holding us back and not what's not allowing us to grow, then we will not. So don't forsake you in the process in any place that you go. Not saying being selfish. Now, there's a fine line to that. But don't forsake yourself. Don't compromise yourself to get other things. Be in alignment. Just know that this is who I am. This is what I believe. This is what I'm going to do. And you know what? At the end of the day, this is what I'm not going to do. And I can guarantee you will prosper.
Absolutely. Michelle, this has been an incredible conversation. We're probably going to have a part 2, 3, 4, right? Because
I'm here.
We could keep going. As you're talking, my brain is thinking about other things, but I always enjoy talking to you. So I thank you again for joining us, and I would love to hear what you all have to say, how this supported you, encouraged you, empowered you. So please be sure to leave a review and connect with Michelle. And you can check out our show notes for more details about connecting with her. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Hey, Changemaker, real quick before you go, if today's episode helped you in some way, the best way to thank me is to head over to Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the channel, and leave a review. I'd also love to connect with you over on social. You can find me at Friends Call Me Fee. Until next time, keep changing the game.